Decades ago, my world shattered beneath my feet when Claire, my wife, unleashed devastating and utterly false accusations against me. Those lies tore our family apart, stripping me of everything I held sacred. We had spent nearly 10 years together, nurturing our 2 children, Liam and Ava, 8 and 6 at the time. I wasn't perfect, far from it, but I was devoted. I juggled 2 jobs, working late into the night to secure our future, diligently paying off debts, and dreaming of a house that would finally be ours. Life seemed to be falling into place. Then, in a cruel instant, everything changed. Claire accused me of unspeakable abuse, claiming I had inflicted physical harm on her. Before I could even process the shock, I found myself handcuffed in the back of a police car. The terrified faces of my children, etched deeply into my memory, haunted me. Liam's small palms pressed desperately against the glass, his wide eyes filled with confusion and fear. The accusations were lies. I had no history of violence, no dark past. But the system moved quickly, unforgiving and unyielding. Claire secured a restraining order, branding me a danger to our family. Child services barred me from seeing Liam and Ava. My employer, fearing the stain on their reputation, let me go. Though the charges were eventually dropped for lack of evidence, the damage was irreversible. My career was in ruins, my relationships fractured, my reputation destroyed. It took over a year and a fortune in legal fees before I was granted supervised visits, moments where I could see my children only through a pane of glass, treated like a criminal rather than a father. Meanwhile, Claire basked in the spotlight, the brave single mother weathering storms, earning praise for her resilience. But behind the scenes, I discovered the truth. Claire had orchestrated the entire charade. She had reconnected with an old flame and wanted me out of the picture to avoid a fair division of custody and assets. Her plan worked. She was awarded full custody. I was left with nothing but fleeting video calls that she often forgot to schedule. I moved across the country, starting from scratch. For months, I lived out of my car, scraping by on freelance gigs, saving every penny. Then, slowly, something shifted. A contract with a fledgling company blossomed into a partnership. I poured my heart and soul into the business. 3 years later, we sold it for millions. I stayed quiet, deliberately under the radar. I knew Claire would keep her distance if she thought I was still struggling. But then, out of nowhere, her letter arrived, demanding retroactive child support, accusing me of hiding my wealth and neglecting our children. She sought to claim half of my earnings. That was the moment I decided to fight, not out of spite, but with cold, calculated strategy. I hired a seasoned private investigator specializing in family disputes. What he uncovered was devastating. Claire had been running an undeclared business, falsifying benefits claims, and most cruelly manipulating Liam and Ava to despise me. She fed them lies about my absence, emotional abuse carefully documented in painstaking detail. Armed with this evidence, I assembled an elite legal team. I wasn't just defending myself. I was demanding justice. We pursued full custody, exposing her abuse, neglect, and fraud. We filed counterclaims for defamation and damages from her false accusations. In court, Claire's polished mask cracked. The judge listened to recordings of her berating Liam for wanting to see me and read transcripts of her coaching Ava to fake distress to skip visits. The atmosphere shifted. Claire's composure faltered. Her hands trembled. Her voice cracked. Years of lies unraveled before the judge's eyes. The ruling was decisive. Full custody was granted to me. Claire was restricted to strict supervised visitation, and substantial financial penalties were imposed. I left the courtroom not with a shout of triumph, but with a quiet sense of closure. The truth had finally prevailed. Bringing Liam and Ava, now 13 and 11, into my home was both a joy and a bittersweet milestone. The first morning, Liam stood in the kitchen clutching a cereal box, hesitating. "Do I need permission to eat?" he asked softly. My heart sank. "No, kiddo," I said, voice gentle. "This is your home. Eat whenever you want." That night, Ava slipped quietly into my room after a nightmare, clinging to me silently. 5 years had passed since I last held her close. 5 years of stolen moments. The kids were cautious, their trust shaped by years of uncertainty. They apologized for small mistakes, glanced nervously when they smiled. The invisible scars Claire's lies had carved ran deep. Claire didn't give up easily. She contested the ruling, appealing and claiming unfair targeting. But the evidence was ironclad. I never barred her from the kids. I allowed supervised calls and visits, though they were tense. I never spoke ill of her. The truth was loud enough. 6 months later, her world began to crumble. The man she left me for abandoned her when her funds dried up, unable to maintain the apartment he financed. She lost it to legal claims stemming from a fraud. Her brother told me she was now couch surfing, unemployed and alone. Any empathy I might have once felt was gone, replaced by a clear understanding. Claire's actions were born not just from malice, but from fear, a desperate need to appear strong, to play the victim. When her lies collapsed, she had nothing left to hold on to. A year after gaining custody, I received a handwritten letter from her. It read, asterisk, I never thought it would come to this. I convinced myself you were the villain to escape my own shame. I know I can't ask for forgiveness, but I hope the kids might one day look at me with softer eyes. Asterisk, it was raw, a flicker of accountability. I never responded, but I kept the letter, not out of bitterness, but as a reminder of the heavy weight of truth. Liam and Ava are healing. Therapy helps, and their laughter comes easier now. Liam has joined a basketball team. Ava spends hours sketching, dreaming of becoming an artist. Sometimes Ava asks about her mom. I answer honestly, she's trying. The real victory isn't in Claire's downfall or in the millions I earned. It's in the quiet moments, rebuilding what was broken, creating a home where my children feel safe. I didn't destroy her. I rose from the ashes and built something stronger, without becoming the monster she tried so hard to paint me as.